stand against you as long as you live. For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Verse number 7, he tells Joshua, be strong. Somebody said, be strong. And very courageous. Somebody said, courageous. Be careful. Somebody said, be careful. Be strong. Be courageous. Be careful. To obey all the instruction William gave you in the last 4 sermons. Do not deviate from them, turning either to the right or the left. But he's saying keep straight ahead. Then you will be successful in everything you do. Verse 8 said, study the book of instruction, the Bible. Study your Bible continuously. Meditate on it day and night, so you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you, hit the key word, prosper and succeed in all you do. For context purpose, I want to read this again. I want to give you the victory before I give you the instruction. The victory said, no one will be able to stand against you. I don't care if they're in the office of authority and they don't like you. They can't stand against you, because 2 things going to happen. Either they going to leave or you going to get promoted. They can't stop you. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live. For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. I would like to use for a subject, victory before the instructions. Victory before the instructions. Father, we thank you. God, we love you. Allow me to increase as you increase. As I give your word to your people, you have given it unto me. In Jesus' name, amen. Victory before the instructions. If I was to tell you, or you receive a letter in the mail that's saying that you are pre-approved for a house, a car, a truck, a business, or anything, you will go down there knowing, watch this, that when you arrive, you're going to get what they said that you deserve. So I find it ironic, I find it irate that we as believers, when God gives us instructions, we're not sure that they're going to be exactly what God has said them to be. So how is it that you put your trust more in man than you do in God? In our text, God is dealing with Joshua into his promotion. And he letting him know, watch this, that whenever you get ready to move, I'm moving with you. Whenever you get ready to fight, I'm fighting with you. Whenever you get ready to go to the next level or to the next chapter, just know you're not going by yourself. The Lord will be right with you. That should be assurance enough for us to move when we don't want to move, to go when we don't want to go, to trust when we don't want to trust. Just know that anytime that you make a move, God, I'm right there with you. Say it with me. Purpose, potential, destiny. Purpose, potential, destiny. For the last 4 weeks, God has given us specific instruction through his word that was given to me for you. First week, he dealt with putting it in the air. God said, the first thing I got to do for you is, watch this, I got to change your vocabulary in order to change what you get. The reason a lot of us are where we are is because of what came out of our mouth and what we believe in. Because you got to have an understanding that someone that is rich started out as poor. First week we dealt with putting it in the air, where he instructed us to change what we say in order to change what we see. He wanted us to understand the power we possess with our mouth. Our Proverbs let us know that the power of life and death is in the tongue. But we don't go to that B part. We stop right there. It's more to it than just the power of life and death is in the tongue, because the B part says, and those who say it and indulge in saying it will eat its fruit and bear the consequences of the words that come from their mouth. If you broke, you said you was broke. If you can't, you said you can't. If you won't, you won't. If you say I will, then you will. If you say I have, then you'll have. If you say I decree, then it'll be done. But you got to change the words that come out of your mouth in order to produce the fruit that you don't mind eating. Too many of y'all are producing grapefruit that you don't like. And mad because you got a house full of grapefruit when you really want apples, pineapples, grapes. But every time you open up your mouth, you're producing bad fruit. But if you're ever going to change your situation, change your life, change what you see, you got to change what you say. I don't care if they is bad. Don't tell them they ain't going to never have nothing. They ain't going to never be nothing. I don't care if she is fast. Don't you tell her she's going to have a house full of children and a man that ain't going to never respect her. You got to be careful what you speak into your children's life because they'll produce what you've been saying. So I tell my children, you can have it all. Sky's not the limit. There's a limit beyond what you can see. And what I learned about God, God is a limitless God. No limits. You have to change what you say and bear the consequences of the word. Be careful with what you say. Then he instructed us to get into his will in order to find your purpose. Change what you say first. God said, stop speaking that out your mouth. Then he said, understand who I am so you can understand who you are. Oh, for those who are taking notes, you ought to write that down. Understand who God is so that you can understand who you are. Because a lot of y'all were born in some bad situation and you're stuck there because you ain't changed what you said. You say, you got to get into my will. Out of millions of sperm cells, you was chosen for the egg, and even before you were chosen, God's hand was upon your life. Before your mother hand touched your head, God had his hands on you. And he didn't just touch you just to be touching you. He said, when I touch you, I was forming you. I was giving you a plan. I was giving you a purpose. I was giving you my will. I was giving you your potential. God said, before your mama and your daddy got together, God said, I was making you to be great. God's hand was already upon you. When you discover your purpose, you will find out its untapped benefits. Because purpose was in place before conception. Never get comfortable in a plan that was not planned for you. Don't get comfortable in a bed that was not made for you to sleep in. Say it with me, you stayed too long. Because if you stay in an uncomfortable situation long enough, you will try to make it comfortable. Why? It's a fact that a pillow that does not sleep good, and you sleep on it the same night and try to make it comfortable when it wasn't comfortable last night. Be careful being in uncomfortable places too long, because you will go nose blind to the fact that it's uncomfortable. It is a fact that if you stay around something that stinks long enough, you will no longer smell it. Purpose, potential. Frustration should lead to examination. When you get frustrated, you got to examine that. You're like, something ain't right. How is it that I'm in the same place, same time, same year, different year, after year, after year, after year? It because by this you learn to deal with what you should have been getting over. You have to become uncomfortable in places that was not meant for you to stay in. You got to do some examination in order to come out of. Get frustrated. Because frustrations should lead to examination. And then we dealt with potential. Potential is, what is, without capacity. What are you saying, Griffin? God said, when I gave you potential, you can be whatever you want to be. If you made the wrong choice, God said, it ain't my fault. The Bible said that, watch this, that the poor shall be amongst us, but the poor didn't have to be amongst us. It's the fact that they never discovered their potential. Purpose fills the wheel, but potential will fill your pockets. Marco could have stayed at the restaurant cooking chicken for them. But he discovered, why this, I can do better than this. I could have stayed on the job, been uncomfortable, but I discovered I can do better than this. You could have thought, why this, stay where you was, but it's not until you discover I can do better than this. First thing that you got to do in potential is you got to discover it. You got to be determined in it, and you got to keep delivering. You got to discover your potential. You got to be determined, and you got to deliver. You got to discover, be determined, you got to deliver. For those that taking notes, you got to discover, be determined, keep delivering. Because there's a lot of people that discover but wasn't determined, therefore it didn't go nowhere. Do you know that 85% of business fail in the discovery stage? Because a lot of time when obstacles present themselves, if you're not determined, you're going to fail. I'm giving you instructions. Giving you instructions. You are where you are because you didn't discover, and if you did, you wasn't determined, or yet you stopped because you didn't fully deliver. Too many of y'all, watch this, was impregnated and had a miscarriage. Some even aborted. Because you weren't willing, watch this, to carry the full term. Your potential came with a plan that was connected to your to prosperity. Lastly, destiny is what you was, and you need to pour out until you don't have no more. Look at your neighbor and say, keep pouring until you're empty. Don't get mad because everyone you pour into don't pour back into you. Because the people Jesus poured out into watched him bled out and stood there and looked at him. As a matter of fact, they had a choice. Give us Jesus or give us Barabbas. They said, keep Jesus and give us Barabbas. You mean to tell me the people he fed, the people he healed, the people he touched, the people alive he changed, would prefer someone else over who has not done anything for him? Can I help y'all today? The reason they was able to choose someone else, you got to be careful who influenced your life. You got people that are called people not to like people because they don't like them. Jesus poured into and watched him bleed out because it was his destiny to bleed, because without bloodshed there would have been no more remission of sin. Therefore he said, I am finished. It's done. I fulfilled it. I almost gave up. I almost threw it in the towel. I almost messed God's plan up. But I had a nevertheless encounter with God. In other words, what he was saying is, sometime in life, things will come in your life and cause a setback, but you got to look at yourself and say, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Say it with me, keep pouring. Because so many are thirsty, but ashamed to say it. It's so many people coming around you that really want what you got. They are thirsty, but they're scared to say it. But just look at their mouth. They craving it. And you the one got it. Can I help you for the second time? Know what you have so you'll know what to give. Oh, that should have been somebody shouting right there. Know what you have so you'll know what you get. In other words, know your worth. A lot of time in the church, in the place or in the business of God, in the church house, there are so many people that have so much spiritual potential. But if you don't never know what you have, then you'll never know what you can give. You got to know what you got. You have to know, I got it. But in our text, we find Joshua is about to level up, like this, in the midst of grief. He's getting a promotion in the midst of mourning. God getting ready to take him to the next level, and he's just not leaving a funeral. God is getting ready, watch this, to give him instructions on where he's getting ready to go. But watch this, and he's sitting there mourning the fact that somebody he loved is no longer with us. It's crazy, God, that when I was happy and I was going through good times, that you allowed me to get promotions in the midst of me grieving over the fact that Moses is dead. And here God comes before he can lead a funeral and say, you up next. A lot of times y'all think that the promotion supposed to come when you riding high. But God said, why this? All things works together for your good. Here it is, I'm getting promoted. I got to deal with the loss of a loved one. Now I'm feeling with mixed emotions. I want to be happy right now, but I'm dealing with grief. I want to accept the promotion, but I'm dealing with grief. But God did something, watch this. He said, because I know you're dealing with grief. Watch this. I know you're in your emotions. I know you're in your feelings. But let me let you know something before I give you instruction. Let me give you some assurance. Oh, y'all should have been shouting right there. He said, before I give you the instruction on what I want you to do and how I want to do it, first of all, let me give you some insurance. Let me give you your pre-approval paper. Oh, shucks, y'all ain't rolling with me. He said, before I sit down and let you fill out the application that you're going to be scared to walk into, you ain't never led before, you ain't never done this before, but before you make your next move and contemplate quitting and giving up, let me give you your pre-approval letter to let you know that before you start, I'm already with you. Shucks. He said, my servant Moses is empty. He done his job. Remember last week? Moses is empty. But because you was the assistant and you were right next to him, he was pouring into you what I had already poured into him. So in other words, what he would let Joshua know, why did you think you ain't ready? Because you can see what's on the outside, but I, God, see what's on the inside. Not only do I see that you're ready, but I see that you're full. He said, Moses empty. And what he poured into you, you now have to pour into the people. Because they stuck on Moses too. You now have to pour into them. Joshua's purpose was to produce during devastation. Say to your neighbor, you got to persevere. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. You need to have that moment of weeping may endure before night. But then there's morning. And when morning come, morning have to end. I'm going to say that again, Doug. When morning come, M-O-R-I-N-G come, then morning have to end. Well, God said, weeping may endure before night. But when morning come, your morning have to end. Because now I got to get up and do what God has assigned me to do. Sometimes morning can be a setback that you don't get into the place that God calls you to get into. He says, Joshua, your purpose, he was grieving while being given a promotion. Be careful because winning at times can look like losing. Ooh, I know I'm going to get some witness then. Winning can look just like losing. Especially, watch this, when you don't have the money that you once had. I'm going to say that again. Y'all didn't catch that. Winning can look like losing, especially when you don't have the money that you once had. Okay. Winning can look like losing when I don't have the money that I once had, but ain't nothing got repossessed or nothing got cut off or nothing got taken. Winning can look like losing when I don't have the money that I once had. Maybe I can't go buy the stuff that I've been wanting to buy, but now I get a chance to buy what I already bought. Winning can look like losing, but you got to have an understanding that God said all things works together for your good. You're looking at the money, but you ain't looking at the miracle. Oh, shucks. But God has to get Joshua into a mindset that he can do anything. God had to put you in a mindset to let you know that there's no limits, there's no boundary. I see increase all around me. God is saying to the church, I don't care what it look like, I don't care what it sound like, but you got to have an understanding before you go into it. God said, got assurance that whatever you go into, it can't stop you, it can't stand against you, because I am with you. He said, before I'm going to give you the instruction, let me go ahead and give you the victory. He said, Moses must understand. Watch this. You got to understand, Moses, no one will be able to stand against you as long as you live. I'm sorry, Joshua. They ain't going to be able to stand against you as long as you live. But before he's given and the instruction, he was confident in victory. He was confronted. He was comfort with victory. Before he would give the instruction, he would comfort with victory. Verse 3, he says, I promise you what I promised Moses. I promise you the same stuff that you was marveling over when you see Moses do it. I promise you, you're going to do the same thing. Because I'm not going to put you in where you're going to lose. Somebody should have been shouting right there. God said, when I promote you, I didn't put you in that place for you to lose. I put you in there for you already got the victory here. But sometimes you got to stop crying when obstacles come your way. You got to understand before you got the job, you got the instructions, you got the victory. You sitting there crying about a battle when you done won the war. Oh, shucks. He said, before he gives any instruction, let me give you some assurance. Because with assurance, you don't need insurance. I'm going to go right there. I promised Moses, and what is, he said, I promise you what I promised Moses. And what is that God first is, he said, where you walk, it's going to be yours. Can I help somebody? There are some jobs you need to walk in like you own it. You want to know when you're successful on a job and you acting like you own it, when the people respond, yeah, he think he owned the place. I walked in here thinking I was on the place because I understood that the Bible said the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. Even though Mr. Charles owned the company, right now I'm running the business. You got to have an understanding. I'm confident in who I am. Yeah, I own it. Yeah. He said first, you walk on it, you shall own it. He said, when you walk O in it, you shall O-W in it. Oh, I'm going to say that again. He said, as soon as you walk O in it, you shall O-W in it. So God said, whatever you walk on, you're going to be yours. It's going to be yours. So there's some places that you need to walk O in so you can O-W in. Stop avoiding the places because you think that you can't afford it. You got to walk in knowing that God said, wherever I put my feet, it's going to be mine. You need to tell that coworker, you better hope I don't sit at your desk. You might be giving me hell because if I walk in, I O-W in. You better tell some of them co-workers that trying to hold you back, you better be glad they ain't walking in your spot. You better be glad they ain't walking in your spot. Because before he gave me instruction, he gave me the victory. He said, whatever I walk O in, I O-W in. Y'all need to retweet. X, whatever the X said, all that stuff. If I walk on it, I own it. Whew. That's why when you go to one stop and it look like it's more than what you can afford, you need to sit on it. And when you sit on it, the owner just might walk over and say, you think, don't worry about the price because I'm able to do anything because I own what's in here. Sometimes you got to know your favor. A lot of times you avoid your favor going to places that God ain't told you to go to. If you go to the right place at the right time, then you'll be able to get what God has for you. See, when you walk on, you can own because you know the owner. Oh, my God. You already got favor. Oh, shucks. Oh, shucks. I need me one of them sleep number beds. Wink, wink. You have to understand your position with God. The reason a lot of y'all are crying in the midst of going through because you don't understand your purpose and your potential and your stance with God. Stop crying over stuff that you can change. And if you can't change it, he said, I'm going to be with you and victory shall be with you. Oh, Second, he said, won't nobody be able to stand against you. Or stop you because I'm rocking with you. Because God said, they ain't going to be able to stand with you because I'm rocking with you. He said, when I show up, you thinking they scared of you, but in reality, they see what's around you. Oh, my God. He said, even when you walk through the valley of shadow of death, he said, you have no fear because someone walking with you. So therefore, when you walk into those places, don't get scared because God said, I'm with you. When you can't see me, they can. Oh, shucks. He said, first thing, number one, what you walk on, O-N, you shall O-W-N. Second thing, won't nobody be able to stand against you or stop you because I'm rocking with you. When you fight, we fight. When you stand, we stand. If you wait, we wait. God got it. Trust me, I got you, and you got this. First thing you need to do when you're going through obstacles, I told you to start with your mouth. I got this. Can I help some of y'all? Some things can look hard when you ain't tried it. Here's where a lot of y'all make a mistake at. When you see it, it look hard. First thing you say is, I can't do this. I can't do this. I remember one year, one of my members had to do some type of exercise test to keep her job. And the first thing she said, Pastor, I don't know if I can do that stuff. Some of that stuff they talking about. I said, where's your faith? Understand that you can't just let these be words. I can do all things through Christ that has strengthened me. You can't let that just be a cliche. And she called me back. She said, Pastor, she was laughing. Guess what? I said, what that? The stuff that I thought I couldn't do, I ain't have to do it. You got to have an understanding what you think that you have to do. God said, I done already went before you to make sure that you're able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that I can ask or think. God said, I got you when you ain't got you. Shucks, let me get out of here. Let me take my left. I see the 747. They're fueling it up. Let me get on the jet so I can get out of here. I smell hot dogs and hamburger. Let's go. You got to know that God has given you instructions. The first thing was the victory, which was the assurance. I'm going to be with you. Where you go, I go. What you walk in or walk on, you can own it. Number two, he said, won't nobody be able to stand against you? He said, now, let me give you the instructions. He said, first thing I want you to do is be strong. Then he said, next thing I want you to do, for those that are taking notes, be courageous. Watch this. Third thing I want you to do is obey your pastor's instructions. When your pastor gives you instruction, it's not your job to give him criticism. Ain't nothing worse than you saying what you can't when God told him what you could. The reason a lot of y'all will not get your blessing because you want to be comfortable in everything that you do. I got a question for you. If you the rose, can you grow through the concrete? In order to get out of jail, watch this, you got to get some words to God. So first thing, second thing is obey your pastor's instruction. And lastly, number 4, study the book. Study the book. Don't avoid Bible study. Study the book. And God said, watch this. Instruction is for the blessings. In verse 6 and 7, God says, be strong twice. Look at verse 6. Verse 6, he said, be strong. But look what he said in verse 7. He said, not only do I want you to be, he said, be strong and courageous in verse 6. But in verse 7, he said, not only do I want you to be strong, but I want you to be very courageous. Why, God? Because God understands that simple thing can be made complex and difficult to fulfill. That's why he repeated to Joshua to be strong. See, God understands some of y'all can make a mountain out of molehill. As soon as you think it's bigger than you, you go to crying, you go to complaining, but you fail to go to God. And you are absolutely right when you said, I can't do it. Because there are some things that you can't do. Mm-hmm. Moses got him to the Red Sea. Got him to the Red Sea and got crazy. Listen to that, folks. You brought us out here to drown. What we going to do? We should have stayed in slavery. At least if we stayed in slavery, we died, we'd have somewhere to be buried. And then God had to already mind you, man, you think I brought you here to leave you? You think I brought you right here to leave you? You think I brought you out of here for you to die? Oh, no, I need you to understand why I could have just waved and the water would came over. But Moses, I need to give you some instruction. I told you what's in your hand. In the word, God said, I left it in your hand. Moses, God is asking you today in Rehoboth, what you got in your hand? Stop complaining, stop murmuring, and realize it's all in my hand. If it ain't in my hand, it's in my mouth. I told you, you got to follow the instructions. You got to follow the instructions. You got to follow instructions. Something can be made complex and difficult to fulfill. That's why he repeated to Joshua, be strong. This term means to be resilient, courageous, having mental fortitude to face challenges and overcome difficulties and persevere through hard time while applying a sense of self-control. You got to slap yourself sometime. You ever seen when folks in a place and they feel like they're finna die and they losing their mind and somebody have to Will Smith them? Because, watch this, they have lost self-control. You have to have a sense of self-control, determination, and the ability to not be easily, hear the key word, swayed by adversities. As soon as you don't get that first answer, you ain't closing, you ain't going to another door. I hear you. Because you think that's it. You think that's it. You think that's it. When they said no, you thought that was it. When they said you can't, you thought that was it. So now you ain't pulling on now another door. You see all these other doors, but you stopped at the one and you refused to go to another because you thought the first one you go to, you're going to hear the answer that God said you're going to hear. Baby, you got to be persistent. You got to keep on knocking. You're going to keep on moving. You got to keep on going because there's a guarantee. He just said that he'll close door that no man can open and he'll open door that no man can close. You just got to pull on the right one. It might not be the first one, but it sure ain't going to be the last one. So I encourage you today to listen to the instruction. When one door closes in your face, there's a guarantee that another one is getting ready to open up. Who am I talking to here? And today, God is telling Rehoboth, I have made a way. You just got to know the way. For I am the way. Jesus. You got to have resilience. You got to be courageous. You can't be easily swayed. And you got to realize adversity gonna come. He was telling Joshua to be mentally and emotionally tough. And the best way to crush your mental and emotionally tough is to go through bereavement. Go through broke times. Go through hard times. Here it is. You ready to give up. Because fear can cause failure. Be strong. Be courageous. Obey my instructions. And read the book. Because you got to have an understanding that blessing delayed are not blessing denied. Stand to your feet. God said in this season, play me out, Doug. Get me to where I need to be. God said in this season that's getting ready to come in 2025. You need to have an understanding that you were created with purpose. You got all the potential, and you're going to fulfill your destiny. Be courageous. Not only be courageous, I want you to know, be careful. He also wants you to know that you already got victory. You just need to be strong. Who am I talking to today? God has showed you so much throughout the years, but you fail to move on it because you were moved by what was and not what is. But God said, in this season to come, you already got the victory. But He needs you to move because you've been standing at the brook too long. It done dried up, and you done made yourself comfortable because you just get a little every now and then. But I come to let you know in 2025, there are going to be some obstacles. There are going to be some things that come in. But don't be easily swayed by adversity because God had already told you, you got the victory. Can I help somebody? Go to the bank. Go get your loan because it belongs to you, and start your business because God gave it to you. Don't allow the plan just to be on paper. God said it's going to go from promise to fulfillment. But you got to obey the instructions because the blessings is in the instructions. The victory is in the connection. I'm going to say that again. The blessings is in the instructions, but the victory is in the connection. He said, I ain't going to leave you. The same way I was with Moses, I'm going to be with you, Joshua. In the same way He was with Joshua, same way He was with Jesus, in the same way He's going to be with us. Because He said, I have no respect of person. Meaning what I done for them, I got to do the same thing for you. I cannot leave you high and dry. I ain't going to let you come to the Red Sea and not be able to cross it and see your victory. Somebody begin to shout over here, God, I'm glad you already gave me the victory. God, I'm glad you already declared I am a winner, God. You done already declared I shall have. The doors of the church is open. The doors of the church is open. You got to revisit those sermons because that's your instruction from me. You got to keep reading the Bible because that's your instruction from God. You have to realize that you were made to go through anything that was designed to bring. I want to say that again. You have to realize